Kia karakia tātou. Whakataka te hau ki te uru, whakataka te hau ki te tonga. Kia mā kina kina ki uta, ki mā taratara ki tai. E he ake ana, te atukura, he tū, he huka, he hauhu, ti hei mauri ora. Morena everyone, and it is a really nice surprise to see the gallery full of amazing people who are doing phenomenal things in our community. So fantastic to see so many people here to awhi your speakers today. So thank you. I know there are many community organisations across Tāmaki Makaurau represented who are working with people doing great things to support communities around many sectors, including workers and housing, and I haven't got the list, but I'm assuming much more. So kia ora and thank you for being here, and great to see you. It does look a little empty in the room, but never fear, there are a number of committee members online as well. So we do have almost everyone here. I will just go through the apologies. So we have apologies from Councillor Fletcher for absence. We have lateness from Mayor Brown on council business. We have early departure from Councillor Filipaina on council business. Were there any other apologies? No? Councillor Filipaina, would you like to move the apologies?
Yordana, ngā mihi.
Seconder, Councillor Ferry. All those in favour? I don't think I have to accept the apologies. I mean, on the online attendees, but I can. There's a long list online. So, Deputy Mayor Simpson, our thoughts are with you for your loss this week. Thank you for attending, but we understand if you need to leave at any time. But thank you for being here.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you.
And kia ora to other committee members as well, and Hokura members, Edward Ashby, and I see member Henare online as well. Are there any declarations? Oh, kia ora, member Ashby.
Yes, just on item 6.1, the local board item, I will just step away for that item and hang out with my Westies probably.
Kia ora, member Ashby. Yeah, I don't consider it a conflict of any kind, but it does make it slightly awkward for you because you are both sides of that table, but I'm happy for you to do whatever you need to do during that time, so thank you for that. Confirmation of the minutes. Deputy Chair, Councillor Dalton will move. And a seconder? Anyone? Councillor Baker, all those in favour? Aye. Any opposition to that? No. Petitions, there are none. Public input, we have 2 lots of public input, I think. First up, we have our awesome CAB team. I've got Sylvia, Philippa and Michael written here, but there may be other people that I don't have your name, sorry, but if whoever would like to speak, come forward to the table. And if I don't have your name, I'm sorry about that. There are microphones in front of you. If you press the button on the right, that'll allow you to speak, and each time you've finished speaking, if you could just press the button again and it will turn off. Yep, there you go. So you have 5 minutes. We've got your presentation here. We also will have questions, no doubt, from committee members, but thank you so much for being here to represent the CAB and all your staff and volunteers across Tāmaki Makaurau. So kia ora. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hill. We're here to present the Auckland Citizens Advice Bureau strategic plan for 24-27. On my left is Philippa, and on my right is Michael, and I'm Sylvia, and we are all on the Auckland board, Auckland CAB board. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. For over 50 years, Auckland Citizens Advice Bureau has been providing advice and guidance providing advice and guidance to Aucklanders thanks to the generous support of Auckland's Council. Auckland CAB is undergoing change to better tackle the unmet needs of Aucklanders, and we would like to partner with Auckland Council to achieve better outcomes for everyone. Through facilitated workshops and general feedback, all Auckland CAB volunteers and staff have had the opportunity to have input into this plan, and it is their plan. It won't. Yeah. Oh, sorry. This document is underpinned by the Citizens Advice Bureau New Zealand, CABNZ, and Te Ture Waitangi Treaty of Waitangi aims, principles and values. CAB is both a first port of call for information and sometimes a last resort for people who need help. Free and confidential information, advice and support on any topic to any person by landline or mobile, face-to-face at 32 branches in Auckland, by email or through our website. Our service is also available in over 21 languages. Oops. Oh, this is hopeless, isn't it? Sorry.
Sorry, it might be a little bit sensitive.
Volunteers not only empower and support individuals and whānau, they are also social justice champions. The insights they collect from recording every client inquiry provides invaluable evidence that is available to council to gauge mood and needs of our local communities. Some key facts. We helped nearly over 200,000 clients in Auckland last year, nearly 1.9 million hits on our information website from Aucklanders alone. Prisoners are given a number on which they can call specially trained volunteers for advice. 9% of our clients who seek support are Maori, and the majority of our clients are digitally disadvantaged and vulnerable. So currently, the majority of our interactions are face-to-face. Key facts: 95 is our service valuable? 95% of our clients would recommend our service to others. Social return on investment by Impact Lab study showed a $13.20 return for every dollar invested. Where ACAB is now and where we see ourselves in the future. What we do now is good, but we can do more. Today, people come to us, but many of the people who most need our services are unaware of what we have to offer. We need to reach out to them. So where are we today and where do we need to be in the future? We need to move to a 4-regional structure. We need to move more towards shared alliances to optimise resources and provide enhanced services to our community. Rather than individual learning, individual bureau to come together to share learning and training resources and knowledge. 9 incorporated societies create inefficient governance cost. For example, annual audits. Amalgamation would reduce these overheads. Inward looking to outward looking, we need to share more of our local initiatives across the whole of Auckland CAB to maximise the benefits to our community. Reactive to proactive. It was agreed amongst volunteers and staff that as well as people coming to us, we needed to focus more on reaching out to people. Our strategic priorities are shown here. The regional model, Auckland CAB's working together for better outcomes for clients. Volunteers, sufficient number of trained volunteers to resource extended services. Services that meet the needs of clients in a changing environment. Funding, sustainable funding that is flexible to achieve strategic goals. Awareness, reaching out to communities and people. There's the slide. Sorry. You do have a copy. The journey has started. We have amalgamated 2 bureaux into North Shore and more work is on the way. Volunteers, we're seeing a steady rise in numbers of people as people become more comfortable in group environments. Services. We're currently working on a phone translation service, which will hopefully be implemented, funding available across the whole of Auckland, and a rangitahi project, which is a youth project working on educational institutions with educational institutions and youth organisations. The funding model. We cannot deliver on this plan with the current funding model. our council representatives are working with us on this, and we're very grateful for their support. Awareness. The Trade Me campaign, which you may or may not have seen, this was pro bono work supplied by Stanley Street, very generously, and we had over 2,000 hits on the Trade Me website. We had media coverage and billboards all over Auckland. Thank you very much for your attention.
Kia ora, thank you very much, Sylvia. And thanks for the for this work, this constructive work. This is leadership from Citizens Advice Bureau. I know that it was a very stressful time last year when the budget proposed a full cut to the council share of their funding for all the work you do, and I'm glad we were able to work together and the community stood up and we kind of got that change and we didn't reduce your funding. But this, I think, takes us the next step across Tamaki Makaurau and moves us into a new space. Myself and Councillor Dalton, the Deputy Chair of the committee, have had a briefing from staff on this as well, but I think it's coming to committee maybe next month or for a workshop, and we'll be discussing the same thing, or July. So it's great to hear the direction from you all from the ground up, and we'll be no doubt working on that as a council as well. Are there any? There are questions. Councillor Watson.
Thanks. A great presentation. My question goes to the notion of need. You know, the general perception is that, you know, with technologies and computers, everything's easier now to contact people to get advice. I find it on occasions quite the opposite. So even if you're denied, if you don't have digital access, even if you do, trying to negotiate things can be really, really difficult. So is that what you're finding also, that in this technological age, ironically enough, there is more need for advice because more people are potentially disadvantaged by not having, you know, the requisite kind of access?
We do find that. You know, overall there is a section of the community which are digitally disadvantaged, and the CAB organisation as a whole has been making representations to central government about that issue for several years, you know. So, you know, we often, because we offer a face-to-face service as well as an online and a telephone service, you know, we're there to enable people to come and see us and to overcome that disadvantage in the best way possible.
Go to Councillor. Thank you for that. Councillor Filipaina.
Sorry, Chair. I know that Councillor Dalton put her hand up first, so my humble apologies. Morena koutou, ngā mihi ki a koe mō te mahi. I just wanted to say morena to you, but also thank you for your work. I've got two very quick questions and possibly a third, Chair. I'll be very, very quick. The funding from Council. Now, I know you're in negotiations with Council around funding. Have you been told, and don't know whether this is something that can be shared, have you been told how long that funding is for?
Not. We're expecting 3 years at least, but we haven't actually had any confirmation of that, no.
Chair, I know you're going to have a discussion. I think that'll be something at least that should be shared with us once you have your conversation with staff. The other question is, with this particular PowerPoint, and you've mentioned Citizens Advice Bureaus New Zealand, is this presentation or an iteration of it going to be shared with the government around your strategic plan? Because obviously the government are a big player in regards to funding.
Yes, in actual fact, CAB&NZ are well aware of this strategic plan. We've sent it to them, and I haven't quite done the presentation, but almost. So yes, I'm, you know, and CAB&NZ are in negotiation with government, so it's up to them to present it, and I'm trusting that they will. Yes.
Okay, and Chair, just to you. I've made this offer in regards to the work that was done last term with the Citizens Advice Bureaus with local boards and councillors are just around the funding model. So, I mean, I've still got paperwork and working group minutes that's at least assisted with how the funding that went to the citizens of Waipiro. So I'm still there to assist. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Thank you.
Kia ora, thank you, Councillor. And I think, yes, Councillor Dalton and I had asked, you know, with the long-term plan and how everything covered over, but there's no threat to the funding, the way the contract grant may be written up based on the CAB's advice and the work through this presentation. And I think the way it moves forward, I think, is probably a more exciting conversation, I think, on the future of CAB, which may, hopefully, in the future, see more government funding coming that way. But that's obviously something that we've given feedback on, but we don't have any confirmation that would support that yet. So that will be discussed at the workshop. And as far as I know, there's not sort of anything hanging over CAB at this time. But we were waiting for this presentation and then the workshop post LTP to get that done. We would have liked to have it come before the LTP, but as you know, there was no space for any other work to come. So thank you. Councillor Dalton, Deputy Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Tēnā koutou katoa. Thank you, Sylvia, Philippa and Michael. Congratulations on a new model for a way forward. My question is just asking you how the individual bureaus are responding to the new model. That's my first question. And the second is, do you think you require different volunteer skills for an outward-looking model as you go forward?
Delegation. Thank you for your sharing and caring. Thank you for your congratulations. I think the individual bureau are responding in different ways. They come with different strengths, and that's part of the process we need to work through across the region with those bureau and help them think about how they look outward. I don't know that we want to be looking for different volunteers. I think what we need to be thinking about with our volunteers is how we are open to all sorts of ways of delivering our services. And because the people we have a lot of strengths in this space, so you don't really want to throw them out and then try and find other new people.
I think it's great. I think the opportunity for existing volunteers to continue to learn and strengthen and grow is wonderful. Thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Councillor Dalton. I guess a question for me, and it might be more of a Patsy question, but you know the way it was explained to us and the way you've explained it too, like that move from more individual siloed to the regional hubs and more information sharing. Do you see it improving sort of not only community development for our communities, but also for those volunteers, you know, to be able to come across and share more time together, and the expertise that they have, you know, can be utilised more right across?
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the things that we've started talking about in our workshops, was that, yes, we should be, at the moment, volunteers are assigned to one branch, one site. And we talked about the fact that, you know, there's nothing to stop us actually sharing those volunteers, and particularly, you know, if we're using digital devices, that's really easy. So the face-to-face is a bit more tricky because you don't want people travelling from one side of Auckland to the other. But yes, that's so, yeah. The thing is too about this, if I may say, at the moment we provide services, you know, locally in our local communities, and it's historically that's meant that our branch, our sites have been very focused on their own local communities. Nothing wrong with that. Wouldn't change that, because they know their people and they know what's available to them. What we're looking at is targeting those specific
maybe bring it a little bit closer. It might just be not picking you up. But, maybe just switch the right button and...
Don't you love technology when it
Oh,
works?
there you go. Oh, right.
This one.
As what we're aiming to do is still provide that core service, but also target those groups like the Rangitahi project. But to do that, we need to allocate funding to that, and rather than to allocate it to the well, obviously the branches needed operational costs, but we would like to use some of the funding to actually target those groups and provide services specifically for them. Maori, digitally disadvantaged, the elderly, the young. And we're not in the business of encroaching on anybody else's patch. We're the only organisation that operates the way we do. All we do is advice. We help people, enable people to resolve their issues. We don't actually provide concrete resources for them, if that can put it like that.
Kia ora, no, that's very clear. I've got now 2 more questions pop up. Councillor Bartley.
Oh, thank you, Chair. Apologies for lateness. I don't have a question. I just saw how you guys were frantically trying to get in front of all us councillors before the LTP because you were worried about whether you had support or not. And I just wanted to make a comment that you have support. You know, Aucklanders have been very clear to us that they value the services that you provide. So I hope you're not too worried because there are councillors that support what you do and see the value in what you do. And that's reflected out there in the public as well. So just a comment to say thank you so much for the work of our Citizens Advice Bureaus.
Well, thank you for that reassurance. It's excellent to hear. It's very... And we do thank you for your support.
There's some of us. Can't say that for all councillors or mayor.
Well, I have to say maybe, you know, we haven't been. I mean, it's difficult when you're volunteers. You've only got so much time, and that we haven't actually been very forward on the front foot in keeping you informed on what we do, and we're going to get much better at that. You will have got some information from us already this year, and we're going to work harder at that, so you know what we're doing.
No, thank you. And yeah, to Councillor Bartley's point, we were, a lot of us were very concerned with those proposed cuts at the beginning, but it made it so much easier when the public spoke up very clearly opposing that direction. So it gave us the information we needed to not support that direction. I should probably say that turn that in a positive way, but I didn't. And what you presented here, you know, one of the first questions in our briefing with staff was, you know, had we required this? So it was great to hear this has come from you. This is direction. You're taking the lead here from the community. So this is a fantastic way forward. Last question before we move on, Councillor Ferry.
Kia ora, thanks very much. I was wanting to understand a bit about how the Citizens Advice Bureau acts as kind of a little bit of a clearinghouse for some other services that people need. So, and I guess this is a slight conflict of interest. I'm a Justice of the Peace, and we do a clinic out of the CAB in the Mount Roskill Library. So there's the benefit of that co-location. I know they run a legal clinic out of CAB, so I wondered if you could maybe expand a little bit on how CAB is a trusted organisation with longevity in communities, often having a really cool physical presence, offers sort of some of that credibility to these other services and offers space and the value that that brings to local communities. I wondered if you wanted to talk about that.
I think that's your area.
Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, we operate in physical locations, and as you've pointed out, Councillor, you know, we do offer other clinics, we call them. They could be a JP clinic, they could be budgeting, they could be a range of things. So we see ourselves as operating like a mini community hub, and our managers are actually tasked with reaching out to the relevant groups and bringing them in to maximise the services that we can provide to the local people through those branches. So it's a very important part of our operation, and I think it's even mentioned in our strategy that we'd like to reach out even further and to continue and extend those connections. And we'll be looking at those sorts of things when we develop our operational plan over the next 2 to 3 months, which is going to flesh out and prioritise the projects that we wish to advance over the next 1, 2 and 3 years.
Just short supplementary, if that's okay. So part of that is offering effectively volunteer reception services to a lot of those groups. So I know, for example, when I sit there as a JP, it's someone from the CAB who actually triages people, work out do they actually need a JP or do they need something else.
Yeah.
You know, manages the queue, tells people when it's their turn, gets photocopying done, that kind of stuff. So is that something that's quite common across the bureaus, that you offer those kinds of reception services, which, you know, otherwise would be very difficult for those clinics
It does
to
depend on the actual branches. Some branches are larger and much busier than others. It's a small part of what we do as volunteers. You know, we offer that assistance just to help the whole system work more efficiently. But our primary focus is to deliver our own advice.
Yeah. Thanks very much.
Cool. Right, we will move on now. We spent quite a lot of time on that, but it's a very important subject. But we appreciate you coming and all the work done, and please give our regards to all the board members, staff and volunteers for the CABs, and we'll be definitely seeing you again soon, I'm sure. Cool. And Councillor Filipaina, did you want to move? Councillor Filipaina would like to move, and Councillor Turner would like to second. Thank you all. All those in favour? Aye. Any opposed? No, definitely not. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
And thank you very much, and you will have a good day too.
Good.
Thank you.
Right. Cool, we're just checking the microphones.